Thank you. Let's bring in Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who serves on both the Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. Senator, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Bret.
You just heard that report from the State Department. Your reaction to what's happening or how they're talking about it?
Well, Bret, the State Department still can't get its facts straight. Just 2 hours before Tony Blinken told America that there are 1,500 of our fellow citizens stranded in Afghanistan, one of his aides briefed congressional staff and said there were 4,100. Now, something tells me they didn't get 2,600 American citizens out in the span of 2 hours today. So the State Department still, nearly 2 weeks on, cannot answer the simple question of how many Americans we have stranded in Afghanistan. And I'm worried that this reflects a desire by Joe Biden to roll up stakes and fly out in a few days and to say that any American still in Afghanistan wanted to stay there. Well, we've got lots and lots of Americans who have contacted our offices, and I know that other representative senators do as well, of trying to get out. They can't reach anyone in the State Department. They are desperate to get on a flight, and we need to stay in Afghanistan at that airport, and we need to go out and collect up any American citizen in need of assistance and get them out before we bring our troops home.
Here's another segment of that briefing with the press and Secretary of State Blinken.
The Taliban have made public and private commitments to provide and permit safe passage for Americans, for third country nationals, and Afghans at risk going forward past August 31st. We're developing detailed plans for how we can continue to provide consular support and facilitate departures for those who wish to leave after August 31st.
Can you explain to people consular support once U.S. troops leave for Americans to get to the airport and to get out of that country through the Taliban?
No, I can't explain it, Bret, because it's inexplicable. You know, in a normal country with a normal government, say an American visiting Great Britain, if you lost your passport, you go to the embassy, and consular services would help you get your passport or at least get temporary documents to leave the country. We're not going to have an embassy in Afghanistan. I can't believe our Secretary of State is taking the Taliban's word at face value. Again, my office has heard from many people who are outside the gates at the airport who have seen Taliban goons beating people, to include Americans, with sticks and chains and pipes, taking their visas or taking their passports. And the idea that the Taliban, which has been sponsoring and supporting and working in concert with terrorists for 25 years, is all of a sudden going to turn over a new leaf and let anyone who's stuck in Afghanistan after Tuesday leave the country peacefully, is a fantasy. So and I can't believe that's the position of the United States government.
Senator, you've mentioned a number of people reaching out to you and the people on the ground, their concerns. There have been private efforts through lawmakers, through former military. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, so my office a couple weekends ago, when we realized the scale of this fiasco, just how many thousands of Americans were stuck behind enemy lines without any clear guidance from the State Department, set up a hotline, and we fielded hundreds, probably by this point thousands of calls. We have hundreds and hundreds of cases open right now. Many of these are American citizens or green card holders or Afghans who have been approved and vetted for special immigrant visas because they risked their lives alongside American troops. And they simply couldn't get information. We've been able to help them get the information they need. We've helped some of them get inside the airport and get on flights eventually. But again, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of American citizens stranded in Afghanistan. And I would point out, too, we have a lot of green card holders as well who are in Afghanistan. And from the reports we got from the Secretary of State and the State Department today, we're not taking any steps anymore to evacuate these green card holders, to say nothing of the Afghans who fought alongside us.
Yeah. I want to turn topics. The origins of COVID report, the 90-day report, the administration. Jen Psaki was asked about that today. Take a listen.
He did not just receive a copy, he received a briefing yesterday on the 90-day origins report. It was a classified briefing, so of course that's not information we would provide publicly.
Is there a better understanding of what was the ultimate origin?
Again, I can't obviously speak to a classified briefing. I know you're eager to receive an unclassified summary. That is something the intelligence community has been working to produce, and as soon as that is available, it will be put out publicly from the intelligence community, from ODNI, and we will also ensure you all have access to it.
We're all eager to have access to that. But here's the Washington Post. Biden receives inconclusive intelligence report on COVID origins. Despite analyzing a raft of existing intelligence and searching for new clues, intelligence officials fell short of a consensus. Bloomberg says Biden report inconclusive on COVID spread from animals or lab. The report doesn't point squarely to one source as the likely origin of the outbreak. You're on the Intelligence Committee. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, it's what I expected, Bret. I haven't been briefed on this report yet, but look, I've said for a long time that all the evidence pointing towards the origins of this virus was probably destroyed long ago. People involved in it were probably either killed or they were disappeared in Chinese gulags. But all of the circumstantial evidence we have, as well as every bit of common sense most Americans have, points directly towards the labs in Wuhan, not to that stupid food market. China is responsible for unleashing this plague on the world. It's time to make China pay.
But do you think that after this 90-day report that seems like it's ending in nothing, that the Biden administration is somehow going to do something different when it comes to China and COVID?
No, I severely doubt it. I mean, they haven't done much different about China from the very beginning. I think they just did this to try to turn the page and move on to what they hope is going to be the next chapter, which right now apparently looks like their reckless $3.5 trillion tax and spending plan, which they're trying to turn the page to on Afghanistan as well.
Senator Tom Cotton, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bret.
Up next, a Supreme Court ruling deals a serious setback to the Biden administration's border agenda.